All right, so today in the video we're going to be going over troubleshooting the backup lights. One of the things you need to do when you're restoring these cars is you need to get them inspected, and part of the inspection process is to make sure that all of your indicator lights, backup, brake lights, turn signals, that they're all functioning properly. And in this case, I got all the lights working except for the backup lights. We have replaced this harness right here. This is the overdrive harness. As part of the overdrive harness also includes the wires for the backup signal. And here you can see one of the wires is green and orange, and the other one is just green. And so since we've replaced this, I can assume that the wires are good, but since it's not physically working, I think that perhaps the switch is bad. So to test that, I've hooked up some leads here, and I'm going to go into the engine compartment and put it in reverse and check it with an ohm meter. Let's jump into the driver's compartment and have a look at that. All right, so here we are sitting here in the driver's compartment. I'm going to go ahead and put this into reverse, and we're going to see if the ohm meter shows a change in the continuity between these wires. That should be reverse, and nothing has occurred. So that tells me that that switch, the reverse switch, is not working properly. Over and down. Yeah, nope, no work. All right, let's take that switch out. It's easier to get to than the overdrive control switch. So let's go ahead and jack the car up and have a look at that switch. All right, so to orient yourself, this is the cross member. This right here is the jack point. The cross member that goes to the transmission right here. Just on top of that cross member right here. Oops. Right here, you can see this is the switch that controls the backup lights. Here are the little green wires that come off of this wiring harness. This is the overdrive wiring harness on a 77 MGB. So I'm going to pull these little wires off, and we're going to take this off. You can see it doesn't really have a hex head. I think it's just grab it with some vice grips or channel locks pliers, and but it's a lot more accessible than the other switch on the other side, which is for the overdrive switch. There's a little detent in here that turns this switch on and off when you put it in reverse. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this switch off and manually turn it on and off and see if it no longer functions. And if the problem is the mechanical linkage between the reverse drive and the switch, then we'll have a look at that shaft as well. So let's go ahead and take this thing off and see what we got going on. There you go. That thing came out without a fight at all. You can see it has like a little washer. This is actually a shim. You can put these little, I think they're like vinyl shims in there to adjust the distance for this little ball in here. If you can see on there's a little bit of wear. Let me see if I can zoom in. So a little bit of wear right there where you can see it's making contact when you try to put it in reverse. So that tells me that at the very least it's trying to switch. Let's go ahead and put this in the vise and see if we can make this switch actually turn on and off. Alright, so I've been trying to push on this with my pliers, and this little ball will not go in. And I don't know why there would need to be, hundreds of pounds of pressure needed to push this switch on. So I have to think that this thing is fused, rusted shut, and it won't switch. So looks like we're going to buy a new switch. I'm going to see if I can get it to free up and just to prove that the point is, but I'm gonna try hitting it with a hammer, but I cannot get this little ball to push in to activate the switch. So looks like we're going to buy a new switch. So after a little bit more effort, I was able to get this ball to go in, but it's not free moving. It won't come back up on its own. There should be a spring that should push that back up. So that further confirms that this needs to be replaced. So off we go into the internet to find a new switch. All right, so here's a new component right here. You can see this one moves freely without a problem, and the travel is much further. When I was first looking at these, I thought that this was like a bearing that was captured, but if you can see, it's long past. This is actually a shaft, and this is the round end on a shaft. So this isn't actually going to roll around. This is a shaft that moves down. So this travels quite a ways. Anyway, so the distance between the flat surface and the top here of the threads is the same on this product. It's exactly the same. It's a little bit different configuration. It has actually a hex head, so you can tighten it down, and a little bit different configuration on the posts on the top. Very similar. So I mean, the connectors will work, but they just point a different direction. This one right here actually says Lucas, made in England, right here. So this could very well be an original product. When I get done with installing this, I think I'm going to take my Dremel and cut this open so we can see the mechanism and how that works. That might be just good to know. Just goofing around. So anyway, since this distance between the flat surface and the top of the threads is the same, we're going to go ahead and use the same shimming that the old one had, and that will accommodate the distance for the slide on the inside. I got a video of that. You can see how that works when you turn the gears into reverse. Here, let me just go ahead and show you that video real quick. All right, so just to be thorough, here you can see I've got the wires back connected. The orange green and the orange green connected together. This one goes with the harness that goes to the back of the car, and this is the harness that comes off of the overdrive switch, and it also has the backup. The solid green wire is connected into the harness that has solid green wires. It's kind of paint by the numbers. It's pretty straightforward. That gives you 12 volts. I've tested it with the VOM. We're all good. Let's go ahead and give it a test from inside the driver's compartment. All right, the ignition's on. The car's in neutral. I'm going to go ahead and pull it over to the right. There we go. Got the backup lights. One less thing to worry about. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that other old switch apart so we can see what it looks like on the inside. All right, so there you have it, all taken apart. You can see the wire posts here. They just have a connection that has a little brass stud right here. This is really corroded right here, so it doesn't even have a clean connection right there. That would have been enough to make that not work right there if it wasn't for this already being clogged up and not moving. So there's a series of springs here. This spring right here keeps this plate from touching on these two little posts right here, and that right there is just a little insulator that keeps that spring. This spring right here is what retracts the little stud that's in there, which is frozen. This is the metal post that moves up and down, which is frozen in place and it's not moving. A lot of corrosion and rust and crap in there. So yeah, this was a bad switch, no doubt about it. So that's what makes up one of these switches. They're really pretty simple. It's just this little copper plate right here needs to touch those two posts, and the spring right here, this is what keeps it from doing that. This spring right here is what makes that post right there rebound, and gives it kind of the back and forth motion that it needs while you're shifting into reverse. So anyway, that task is complete. I hope this was an informative video. If you have any questions at all, please make sure that you throw them in the comments. I'd be glad to answer any of them. I got plenty more to look at. The last thing we need to do before the inspection is to get the windshield wipers to actually wipe the windshields. They move, but they really don't. They're not really effective, and that's the last thing that will keep me from passing the inspection. I'll be working on it tomorrow. Cheers.